Hi, boys and girls. I'm Mrs. Horne, and I'm going to read your story today. But before I read your story, I have a little friend that's going to come along with us. This is a camel, a dromedary camel, because he's got one hump. Now, this little friend of ours that's come to visit has come to tell you a story. He's a very old camel, and he's tired, and he really wants to do nothing but rest. His sciatica, which is a nerve that runs down his legs, makes his legs hard to run. And he's just got all kind of problems. So he really doesn't want to do anything this Christmas. But he's here to tell you his story, what happened to him on Christmas. So he's got a very funny name, Hashkamaka. Hashkamaka is a name you wouldn't find very often, but this is his name, Hashkamaka. He's an old camel, and he was asleep in the desert. He dreamed of all the water in the world and a hump that would hold an entire sea. Great dream, isn't it? He wants nothing but water in his hump. Hearing voices, Hashkamaka opened one eye. Hashkamaka, Hashkamaka. Kind of reluctantly, Hashkamaka opened the other eye. Why should I wake up, he grumbled. The sand just whirled up into the moonlight sky, made a whirl in the night. You have been chosen, the voices whispered. The sand seemed to shift again. You will carry the gifts to the baby king. Who are you, Hashkamaka wanted to know, for he was an old camel. And he thought that he had earned his right to sleep. You will carry frankincense, myrrh, and gold. The wise men have chosen you. Let me show you my page before I flip it. That wasn't very nice. Here he is grumbling in the desert. Can you see the pictures? Someone forgot that I was on camera. Hashkamaka got up very slowly because his legs hurt. Why me? If these wise men are so wise, don't they know about my joints? My gout that's in my toes, my sciatica nerve that goes down my legs? What did you say I'm to carry? How much will it weigh? Besides, I have other things to do. There's a water drinking contest in Regal. Then I must go to my cud chewing contest in Beamish. And cud chewing means that he's going to see how fast he can chew his mouth. The sand blew furiously, cutting into the black night. Hashkamaka was startled, and he decided he better do as these voices said. Who knew what made the sand move like creatures with great wings? When do I start? He asked carefully. Why, today. With that, the sand voices disappeared, and it was morning, and here he is arguing with them why he did not want to carry the gifts. It was still early as the servants of the wise men placed the precious gifts on Hashkamaka's back. The young camels ran to his good friends. They still looked up at him because he was old, and they thought him very wise. You must be a very special camel, they sighed. I am very special, Hashkamaka puffed out his chest, and he was so proud that they liked him. I'm not so old. I'm still as strong as 10 horses, and I have been chosen to carry rich gifts to the new baby king. Can we come too? Asked the youngest camel, who never wanted to be left behind. Aren't we your friends? Shouted another. You can walk beside me, Hashkamaka replied in his most regal voice, and the long journey began. And here are the three wise men placing 3 gifts on his back. Does that look like that's too much to carry for this old camel? At noon, in the middle of the day, a herd of mountain goats came into view. Hashkamaka thought that they had come a long way from their mountain home in the north. What is it you want? Hashkamaka called out. We have heard tell of the new king who is to be born. Please take our humble gift with you. It's milk for the king. You want me to carry milk? Hashkamaka sputtered with shock. I'm not a milk-bearing camel. I'm not an ordinary like you. The young camels coursed together. No one is ordinary. They looked to him with their big brown eyes. He's strong. Why, he is as strong as 10 horses. So Hashkamaka doesn't have very nice manners, does he? And here's the goats with their milk. So they're going to put this on the camel's back. Hashkamaka muttered to himself, "My joints, my gout, my sciatica." Aloud, he said very grandly, "Give me your gifts." So they tied those gifts on the back. At 1 o'clock, he was stopped by a family of millers, and millers are people who make bread. "Look," said the youngest camel, "they're carrying bags of ground corn. Do you suppose they're for the new king?" "They will have to carry themselves," Hashkamaka replied. "They can follow that star just like the rest of us." The young camel crowded around Hashkamaka eagerly. "But you're so strong. You're as strong as 10 horses." Hashkamaka felt very weary just looking at the bags, but he said to the millers, "Give me your bags and I'll carry them." So now he's got bags of corn on his back. They put it up there. Now we're at 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock the next day, young ladies gave Hashkamaka their fine silk, which is material they made out of worms. At least the rich cloth doesn't weigh anything, he thought. Well, at 3 o'clock, an old man in fine clothes gave him 2 rare birds in silver cages. Now, do you think those silver cages are going to be easy to put on Hashkamaka's back? Because look at all those bags of corn he's got. At 4 o'clock, some merchants gave him pillows of oak that came all the way from Lebanon. And look at how heavy those pillows look. I think another word for them would be columns. At 5 o'clock, a group of bakers gave him their finest, sweetest pastries. Pastries are kind of like donuts. At 6 o'clock, the sun finally went down, and the crowd melted into the coming night. Hashkamaka gracefully sank into the sand, and in the kind darkness, he didn't have to pretend he was strong as 10 horses. Hashkamaka became so aware that it didn't seem as dark as usual. He looked up, and guess what he saw? The splendor of the skies and the special brightness of the star that he had been following. He fell asleep wondering about the sand voices and the wings that he thought he almost could see. And there's the wise men behind him, or in front of him. But as the sun rose over the desert hills, it was hard to remember the wonders of that star, for the next day brought new pains and new burdens for Hashkamaka. "I don't think I'm going to make it. I can't carry anymore. My legs are getting weaker. My gout, my sciatica, my joints, I'm too loaded down." Word of the caravan is spread like sand before a desert wind. People lined up the route, holding up their gifts for Hashkamaka to take the baby to the baby king. There were jars full of honey and baskets of money. There were jewels and beads and large rolls of leather. And last but not least, there were 20 gallons of wine. Hashkamaka moaned to himself, "This will bring me to ruin, this fruit of the vine." So he thinks he cannot carry anymore. He's got all he could carry. And there they're lined up. But the youngest camels cried out, "Look, there's Bethlehem. You made it, Hashkamaka. You're as strong as 10 horses." Hashkamaka knew he could just do it if he did not stop until he arrived at the spot beneath the star. And just then, out of the growing darkness, a small voice said, "I have a gift for the baby." You think he's going to take that gift and put it on his back? Hashkamaka looked down at a tiny child. "Please, child, I can't take any more gifts. It has no weight. It's long and it's light. It's for the king who's born this night." "It's little," the child added. Too little is too much, Hoskamaka whispered. Didn't I hear them say you were strong as 10 horses? Well, yes, I am, sort of, but my joints, my gout. Hoskamaka looked into the child's eyes and his heart melted. Yes, child, give it to me. This smaller than small gift, what harm can it do? It's for his bed. It's all I have. No problem at all, said Hoskamaka bravely, if foolishly. All this time, Hoskamaka had kept walking because he knew if he stopped, he could not start up again. Now he could see that the star had shone down a lovely stable. Child, do it now. Place your gift upon my back as I approach the new king. And this is what the little boy brought. He brought a thing of straw, one little piece of straw. You think this is going to break the camel's back? Hoskamaka entered the stable. My knees are loosening, my legs are wobble, my back is breaking. Will this last straw cause me to fall? And with that, Hoskamaka fell to his knees. Oh my, he thought, this is no way for a camel to behave. They will say that Hoskamaka the weak camel, Hoskamaka the proud camel, should not have traveled this far. The wise men noticed Hoskamaka. Quickly they too knelt. They're mocking me now, falling on their knees, heads bent over like gnarled old trees. See, he doesn't know that they're worshiping the king. Hoskamaka thinks they're mocking him and making fun of him because he fell down. Then from a hungry manger, a tiny hand reached out and touched Hoskamaka. This pain seemed to disappear. He could no longer feel his burdens on his back. Hoskamaka whispered to the baby, Hosanna from Hoskamaka, accept these gifts kindly. They come from far and wide, brought by a beast who once acted blindly. From that time on, there was no burden, great or small, that Hoskamaka would not carry gladly. And who's touching his hands but baby, but Jesus. And they're the lambs giving honor to baby Jesus. Now, the name of my book, I bet you can't guess it, was The Last Straw. This is a book that you may want to get for your Christmas and read during Christmas holidays to remind you that everybody can do something. Doesn't have to be much, but everybody can bring a gift to Jesus. Thank you for letting me read today.